Hello, everyone. Just wanted to jump on. It's Saturday afternoon, 5 o'clock, and I've got a few minutes to spare. So I thought I could answer any questions that people have. I haven't got a particular agenda or subject I want to talk about, although I can imagine there's going to be some specific things that will come up. So hi to you, Malia. How you doing? A new era. So Malia, I hope you understand about your friends. They really just need to be a little bit patient. I'm sure they're worried by this DS5535 thing. It's a bit weird that it went from issued to refused. Refused is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's unusual, very unusual, that it goes from issued to refused. So they just need to comply and fill out forms and see what happens. Okay, Malia? Okay, so let's see. Any comments on the Rosales case? What are your expectations? Did you read the government reply? Do you think Judge Chen will give relief? I don't know. It's difficult to try and predict the judge in any of these cases. It's difficult to predict what they're going to decide. I think the arguments are all strong. There should be some sort of relief available, but nothing's for certain. And the judges have to take a view. They have to balance, as we saw in DV 2020 with Judge Mehta. They have to balance what they think is a legitimate impact caused by a natural event such as COVID versus what could the government have done more? What have they been neglectful in not doing? Now, I think there is certainly a case that they've been neglectful. I think there is a case that they could have done more, and I've said that many, many times. But it's very important that the lawyers focus the judge on those sort of matters, as opposed to letting him drift back to, COVID has impacted a lot of people. It's killed millions of people. So it's a serious event. So I don't know. I'm not going to try and predict what he's going to come out with. Kamal, you've been following since I won in 2014. You're a citizen now, and you're quite impressed. Thank you, Kamal. I'm actually going for my citizenship right now. I delayed my application because President Trump was the president, and I didn't want to apply to President Trump's administration for citizenship. Frankly, I didn't want a document signed by him. So you may see that differently. That's fine. But yeah, that's how I felt about it. We're suffering case 11,000 AS till date, no DQ, Doha, Qatar. Yeah, lots of cases are suffering. I think if you've seen the statistics, I hope people are understanding what they're seeing. The reality is that there is a complete disaster happening before our eyes. Nobody is safe. You're not safe until you have your 2NL in your hand, as it were. And many, many people, even documentarily qualified people, will not get their visas. There's only 1 month of scheduling left. And even if they schedule another 12, 13, 1,400 cases, that's only just going to take us above the 10,000 mark. So without the lawsuits, 45,000 visas will go to waste. So it really is dependent on the lawsuits. I hope people understand how serious things are right now. And I'm telling people, frankly, point blank, people are asking me, I don't have my documentarily qualified, my ready for scheduling email yet, or I'm just about to send in my documents. And I've just been telling people, you're too late. You're just too late. They're not going to get to you. That's the reality. Whether people want to hear that or not, I don't know. When do you think we'll get to know the selectees for DV 2022, says Sylvia? I think in the next 1 or 2 visa bulletins, it'll be published. It's published at the end of the visa bulletin, and they list all of the selectees by country. I think DV 2022 is going to get off to a rocky start because of COVID impacts, right? It's impossible to think that just a few weeks from now, we'll start seeing KCC scheduling DV 2022 cases for October interviews. That's not going to happen. So there is going to be a delay for DV 2022. How bad that impact will be, we don't know yet. But but that is going to be a difficulty. And we don't know the number of selectees that have been chosen. I hope it's a low number, but I suspect DV 2022 is going to be impacted by COVID and by the by the lack of effort, if you like, by the government. So that's pretty bad news to tell people, but there you go. Camille got his DV 2021 visa in South Africa. Will I get to travel directly to the US, or will it have to be a green country? No, you're exempt. You're referring to what we call the Schengen area bans and the other bans. South Africa is another country that's been included in that sort of ban. But you have an exemption from that as an immigrant visa holder. So you're not required to spend any time in a third country. Okay. Check with your airline. They may or may not understand that. It doesn't matter whether, that's true. What I just said to you is correct. Whether they understand that or not is going to be another question. But by all means, check with them and see if they understand the difference between the immigrant visa rules and every other type of rule. You're a Ghanaian, but you're currently in Canada. Can you apply? Yes, you can. Doesn't matter where you're living right now. It's only important that you tell the truth and that you refer to your birth country. You should get an Africa case number if you're lucky enough to be selected. So don't, for goodness sake, try to enter as anything to do with Canada or any other country that you might be living in is to do with your birth country. But you can enter from anywhere in the world. It doesn't make any difference. What about DV 2020, Rajesh? Same question I get every single time. I think you've probably asked me a few times. And I keep saying to people, look, we've just got to be patient. Judge Mehta has no deadlines imposed on him in terms of when he has to make a decision. He can take as long as he likes. There's nothing we can do about that. Now, there is a hearing which is for DV 2021 on July 19th, 9 days from now. And the issues that will come up in DV 2021 hearing for the cases that come up that day are some of the same issues that Judge Mehta has considered before for DV 2020. I think it's pretty much impossible to imagine that Judge Mehta will not have DV 2020 on his mind on the July 19th hearing. He hasn't asked for any of the Gomez lawyers to appear on that day, but he's clearly going to be considering DV 2020 at the same time as he's considering the arguments made about DV 2021. So it could be helpful for DV 2021, and it could be helpful to get Judge Mehta to actually issue an order for DV 2020. But there is no particular time limit on that. And so you've just got to be patient. For all the people that are saying, and I see it constantly on Twitter, oh, we've waited 2 years, we've waited 2 years. Look, the position is this for DV 2020. In a normal year, your chances are gone, okay? Let me just make that very clear. In a normal year, at the end of September 30th of last year, your chance would be absolutely gone. So to complain now that it's taking a long time and you're impatient and you're bored and you're tired and all these things that I read from people is really daft. It's very silly to behave like that and to talk like that because, frankly, you'll wait as long as it takes to wait. And if you get a green card at the end of it, you'll consider yourself lucky. You won't consider the time you've waited. Your other option is just give up. Go away, give up, forget you ever won. Because in a normal year, that's what it would be. So don't complain that the law process, that the legal process takes a long time. The legal process is the only thing saving your hope at the moment. So just wait and be patient, please. Understand that. Is there any hope for DV 2021s with case number AF32K? It's nothing to do with your case number anymore. Every case number is current. Right, in DV 2021, understand that. Every case number is current. However, the way that they are scheduling appointments at the moment is that they are taking the cases that were ready for scheduling in order of that time when they became ready for scheduling. And right now, they seem to be scheduling cases which were ready for scheduling around about November or December of last year, possibly early January, but not much more than that. And there's one remaining month of scheduling. That's all, just one remaining month, right? They're not going to get through all of the cases. They're not going to get right up to date. So if you got, regardless of your case number, if you got ready for scheduling, let's say in January of this year, you may have a chance. If you got your case number, if you got your ready for scheduling later than that, February, March, April, May, any time like that, you probably have no chance, right? That's the reality. Now, bearing in mind that they may schedule, let's be generous, and let's say they schedule another 1,500 cases. They have 20,000 cases ready for scheduling already. And they have had for some time, since back in March and April. So if people are trying to get ready for scheduling right now, submitting documents and that sort of thing, that's why I'm telling those people your chance is gone. Okay, so it's got nothing to do with your case number, Ibrahim. It's got to do with when you received the ready for scheduling email, when you were actually, processed. Okay. Mohammed, you mentioned that KCC is scheduled based on the order that the person received their RFS. Yes, but if I unlocked the DS to correct submitted documents RFS again, does it count from the first or the latter? The first. Unlocking documents, unlocking the DS260 doesn't really cause a delay, and I believe they would take the first date as as the date that you were ready for scheduling. But of course, this is all new. We don't really know how things are going to work because none of this is working the way it's supposed to be working. So I'm only guessing with that, and maybe you get a surprise one way or the other. But that's pretty much the reality. So. Tell me if you want to ask me whether you've got a good chance or not. Tell me when you first got your ready for scheduling, and if that was let's say March or later, you probably don't have much chance. And then the only chance that you do have is if you were smart enough to get on the lawsuits. Okay. Is SEAC going to give invalid case number when case status is checked until January next year for DV 2022? Yes, it will. The cases are not available. I believe they're loaded. They were loaded in, there was a time period when the system wasn't working very, very well. And so the cases are actually loaded into SEAC, but they're not available until midnight on December 31st, or, the first thing of the morning on January 1st of 2022. Happens every year. It's idiotic programming by the government. Frankly, there's no good reason for it. I'm in software development. It still stuns me to this day that they haven't fixed this obvious problem with their system. So yeah, until then, you can't get status on your case. Vasily, hi there. My girlfriend was selected for DV 2021. We were planning to get married before we found out about it. Should we wait to get married and then fill out the DS260, or so we can go out together? Okay. Firstly, if you're DV 2021, forget it. Your case is over. You're done, right? If you haven't submitted your DS260 by now, it's done. I think you probably mean your DV 2022, right? I'm going to assume that that's the reality because, as I say, if what you're saying here is correct, then you're done. There's no chance. So if your girlfriend was selected recently, then you're actually in a DV 2022. You should get married and then fill out the DS260. That would be the smart way to do it. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no real risk with that. There are some countries where that creates a risk because there's a lot of fraud based around marriage and that sort of thing. But generally speaking, if you're not from one of those countries, and if your relationship is genuine and you can show previous relationship, for example, emails or trips you took together or photos, that sort of thing, a wedding where people attend, not just you two, then, there's no real risk. Okay. And I would always recommend get married first. Yes. Eli Square, Britt, there is about 10 cases in Chile that passed into fail, all okay. And the cases passed from AP to ready. Is it normal? Yes, it's normal. If you read my FAQ in my Brit Simon page, you'll see exactly why that happens. Another case in Cuba also passed from issue to refuse again. Any comments? That's what Malia Yu, one of the other users, was referring to, and I started off the video talking to Malia about that particular case. That's not normal. Malia, if you're still on, was that in Cuba? Or not Cuba, but this would be Guatemala, I presume. But it's nonsense. I mean, it shouldn't be happening that way. You shouldn't go from issued to refused. What should happen, what does happen, is you have a successful interview. You may see the case switch between AP and refused, and it may go back a couple of times, and it's to do with the visa printing process. And then you'll see issued. And when it goes to issued, you're normally pretty convinced that you're going to get the visa, but really you're supposed to wait until the visa is in your hand, right? Until you celebrate. In these cases, and maybe it's one case that you're both talking about, or maybe it's the same case, where it's gone from issued to refused. That's very unusual. I've probably only seen one or two cases like that in the whole time I've been dealing with DV lottery, which is about 8 years, right? So it's very unusual. I suspect it's probably more to do with the embassy not knowing what the hell they're doing, frankly. Francisco, hello, how are you? Finally became DQ yesterday. Should I expect it to NL soon? No. Francisco, you are a Go plaintiff though, aren't you? So I think you're Go, or I think you're Go. Maybe I can't remember exactly, but I'm hoping you're on one of the two lawsuits. If you're not on the lawsuit, then no, you've got pretty much no chance. If you are on a lawsuit, the fact that you're documentarily qualified will help, I believe, once a movement starts to happen in those lawsuits, the Good Luck and Go cases. It's easier for them to operate on those cases. So let me know which case you're on. I think you're on one of those two lawsuits. I certainly hope so, Francisco. It would be a shame to have got to this point and being told you're documentarily qualified and then not get an interview. But that's going to happen for 25,000 cases. It's going to be like that. Hi, Simon. What's the current status of the DV 2021 winners? Can you be more specific and clear in your questions? Current status of the winners: some are sleeping right now, some are having a cup of coffee, some are having breakfast. Can you be a bit more specific about what's the current status? Tell me a little bit more about what your question is. Actually, it's 2022. You're bad. Yep, it was your bad, but I explained, and I'm glad, because that would have screwed you up. Ankush, could you let me know, Japan DV 2022 AS 14,800 is a high number. When should I send documents to KCC? In the old days, I was telling people, so firstly, your case number is pretty high, yeah. We don't know how high it is because we don't have any information about how many selectees there are in Asia or any other region right now. So I don't know if it's impossibly high, or what's going to happen. We don't know anything about how processing will go because the COVID impacts and how cases are operating, etc. There's just no way to predict, literally no way to predict, unless you're a bloody idiot, and I'm not a bloody idiot. You wouldn't try and predict what's going to happen in the next 12 months, right? I mean, I don't know. And if I don't know, believe me, nobody here and nobody else can tell us accurately either. But going to your second part of your question, when should you send documents? I would normally, in a normal year, say you can delay your documents. Don't necessarily submit them early. But people that submitted their documents a little bit earlier this year will probably have an advantage, as some people have had by submitting their documents early in DV 2021. Now, that time period of early submission may have passed already. I think it probably has. But nevertheless, it's smart to just get your documents in, not just your documents, your DS-260 and your documents later. So get that, submit it. Why not? There's no real harm. I used to be concerned about the workload of KCC and trying to make things fit organized for them, which was for everybody's benefit, but screw them. I mean, just get the documents in, right? Look after yourself. Tan Nang. Hi, Brett, long time no see. Yeah, it's been a while. I'm sorry about that. I've taken on a large project. It's got me traveling a bit, and I'm just constantly working at the moment. So that's why I've not been on. AS region below 10K cases for Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Again, it's not about your case number. It's about when you are ready for scheduling. Tell me that, or I can't tell you anything. And I've explained why earlier in this video. Any news about the DV 2020 case? When you're going to have a final decision? Any news about the date? No date. I already explained a little bit earlier, about 5-10 minutes ago, about DV 2020, but there's no decision yet, and we've just got to wait. Okay. In your embassy, numbers in all ranges have been called up to 42XX for South America. Francisco, don't think though that means that all the cases under 42,000 have been processed. It doesn't mean that. It simply means that they're picking from any case number range, but they're doing it based on the day you got documentarily qualified. That's not how they would normally operate. It's not a normal year. They cause chaos by making everybody current, and the whole document thing is a mess. So, it's just not going to work normally or correctly this year. Hamdan, hi Britt, I'm a DV 2021 case number 36K, sent an inquiry to KCC. They replied saying allow a few weeks. Do you think you can contact the embassy? Firstly, the embassy don't know anything about you until KCC send your case to the embassy. So there's no point in contacting the embassy. That can't do you any good at all. They're saying that you should wait a few weeks for processing. That means, I presume, that you sent your documents in, or perhaps your DS-260, but you're not yet ready for scheduling. And in that case, it's probably too late. You're probably not going to get an interview. The only way that you would get an interview is if you're on a lawsuit. Other than that, no, you're not going to get an interview. I'm sorry. Omar, DV 2021, still didn't receive confirmation of documents. Can you resend the documents again? Same thing I just said. I don't know your case number, but I don't need to know. If you haven't received, you're ready for scheduling, you're not going to get an interview again, unless you're on a lawsuit. Okay. Any news of rejected visas, DV 2020? Rejected visas. Now, Khalid, are you talking about visas that were rejected because of the Muslim ban? Is that what you're talking about? Maybe you should qualify that and give me a little bit of more information so that I can answer properly. Dr. D, AOS interview scheduled for August 2nd. Thanks for the support, Britt, and someone's mum for the amazing support. Someone's mum is brilliant. Actually, I've got to have dinner with her soon. Somebody very kindly sent me a donation specifically for a bottle of wine for me, Susie Q, and someone's mum to have a little celebration together. And we live quite close with it. We live within 30 miles of each other. So, we're overdue for getting it together. But anyway, I'm glad she was able to help you. She's amazing. Much better than any lawyer I know on adjustment of status, literally. And I know some good lawyers, as you know, but she knows more about it. So is 2020 over, sir? No, I already explained it's not over, but only because of the lawsuits. And if we don't win in the lawsuit, then yes, it will be over. I applied for AOS and ASC is delaying badly. Do you know what is happening? There are hundreds of thousands of people going through a very badly incapacitated system right now. And so everything's taking too long. Everything's taking longer than it should do. And so you've just got to be doing everything you can to try and push your case forward and hope that it can work for you. Britt, we get document qualification by submitting docs without asking. What's the last day, month? They'll send the last set of 2 hours. When will we get document qualification? Yeah. Okay, Traveling Spirit. So yes, I have known some people that have received their ready for scheduling emails when they sent their documents and they were never asked to send documents. So I know that worked. However, in general, it looks like my change of strategy that, it was around about January and February, and perhaps in December I told a few people, but in January and February I switched to the send your documents now because I could see that a mess was happening. But I didn't I didn't realize how bad things were going to be, and nobody knew, obviously, right? So it was the right strategy to just send the documents without being asked, for sure. But nevertheless, we're going to see a lot of people that won't get there ready for scheduling in time to get on the last round of interviews. So, that's the way it's going to be. And again, that will certainly be helped by the lawsuits, but it won't be a guarantee, obviously. Hi, Luca. How are you in Croatia? I was speaking to someone about Croatia just this morning about going there. I want to get over there sometime. July 19th is around the corner, just 9 days to go. I'm sort of quietly excited. It's going to be a busy week that week, actually. This week coming, I begin to expect the visa bulletin to be issued. Actually, just in general, here's what I think is going to happen over the next few days. Today is the 10th. Tomorrow is the 11th, my birthday. I'll be 21, as you can see. And then Monday is the 12th, so we've got 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, right. So those days, the days of the week next week, we may still see a few 2NLs come out for August interviews, a few. But at some point, maybe this coming week or maybe the week after, we'll see the visa bulletin released. And when that comes out, all of the 2NLs we see from that point forward will be for September interviews. So that's roughly how it's going to go. But yeah, and then there's now a July 16th, which is the Friday. There's one of the lawsuits. The hearing was moved to the 16th. Then the 19th will be an important day. That'll be very significant. So fingers crossed, Luca. Rejected cases are rejected unless you want to file a petition for it. No, rejected cases are just rejected cases. It's very rare to be able to overturn a proper rejection case. So sometimes people are told they're refused temporarily. They're refused under 221G, which is really administrative processing, and it's where they've got to provide a document or that sort of thing. But if you've been refused because the consular officer decided you didn't meet the requirements or you failed to follow the process or something, you're not going to overturn that. That's not going to happen. So in almost no cases that happens. Okay. Good to have you too, Sisane. Hello. Question from Mr. Simon. Because it's obvious that there are claims of DV 2020 rejected visas because of the Muslim ban. Right. Okay. So this was the question earlier. So the Muslim ban was revoked, and there was this statement by the government that they could review, that the government would themselves review whether to reopen cases or allow cases to be reopened that were previously refused due to the Muslim ban. And so there are cases from DV 2017, 18, and 19 that were hoping to be able to reopen their cases, and they won't be able to reopen their cases. That has been decided. They're not going to get a chance to open that. Bear in mind, the Muslim ban was found to be legal. It went all the way to the Supreme Court, and it was found to be legal, right? So it was law at the time. It was lawful practice at the time. I don't agree with it, obviously, and it was Trump's ignorant behavior, but it was found to be lawful. And so, although they talked about going backwards, there's really not much they could do. Now, for DV 2020, you may get a chance to do something. It's going to be a bit of a rush. The only way that those cases, Khalid, are going to be able to operate is if they can get, if we get the judgment agreed in DV 2020 from Judge Mehta, and then one of those 9,095 visas, unless we can get more, could go to someone who was refused previously based on the Muslim ban in the earlier part of DV 2020, they might be able to reopen their case. But I suspect it's going to be complicated and a rush for those cases because the embassies won't know what the hell to do, frankly. So just stand by and see if that's a possibility. But the first thing in all of that is we've got to get we've got to get that final judgment from Judge Mehta. Without that, can't do anything at all. Francisco, I just saw my present for that. Happy birthday. Thank you very much indeed. Yes, I can drink legally in the USA. What a crazy thing. 21 years old. I started drinking with my family over a Sunday meal, and Francisco, you probably did the same thing. A little bit of red wine with a little bit of lemonade. When I was 12, I think it was about 11 or 12, and Americans can't drink till they're 21. But yeah, I'm a little bit, just a secret, I'm a little bit older than 21. But anyway, I very much appreciate that thought and that present. Thank you. I'll go and I'm going to watch the soccer tomorrow, football, Italy versus England, and we'll see how that works out. All right, thank you for that. Go Plaintiff here. Never received documents for confirmations of scheduling, but still hope. Yeah. So here's the thing: if you're a Go plaintiff, Go has 1,930 plaintiffs. If they get some action, and I think they're in a very good position to do so, whether you've had your confirmation or not, you could see some action on your case. So just wait and see. The lawsuits are tremendously important for people still waiting. So we'll have to see how that goes. All right. Marie, so we're limited to play the lottery only if we have green card. What? Maria, I think you're very confused. This lottery that we're talking about, the diversity visa lottery, is in order to get a green card. So I think you're a little bit confused. The other lottery, which is to win lots of money, multi-million dollars, etc., you don't need a green card for that. You just need to be a resident in the USA, and that's not what I'm talking about. So Christopher, OC 1300 winner, Sydney specifically, DV 2022. There is potentially other work visas I might be applying for with this COVID craziness. How late should I wait to submit the DS 160 form? Okay, so it's DS 260 for a start in a DV case. I wouldn't wait too long, frankly. The problem you're probably considering is that once you submit an immigrant visa petition, your ability to get some types of non-immigrant visa is affected a little bit. But if you're an Aussie, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Sydney are very, they're very accommodating, shall we say? They know Aussies, travel. They know Aussies will find a way to travel if they want, etc. But also Aussies will generally play by the rules, right? And so they're not really going to hold the immigrant visa application against you. It won't be a complete knockout for any other non-immigrant visa you want to go for. So, go ahead and fill out your DV form. At the end of the day, it's daft to take a once in a lifetime opportunity like the diversity visa and delay that and maybe affect it because you're going to get a temporary visa. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Tan Nang, want to know, DV lottery only for a lawsuit. This is not fair at all. Please let KCC disappointed on that. Yeah, it's wrong. It shouldn't be that way, but it is that way. And we're all grown-ups and we're adults. And I've been saying for some months, like, if you want a better chance, get on the lawsuits. It's KCC don't give a damn. They are happy to issue 10,000, 11,000, 12,000 visas. They will say, job done. We did everything we could. It's been a tough year, right? They don't care. They don't care if you're disappointed. You have to be realistic. This is not about shaming them or anything like that. They're not interested in your disappointment. The only way to deal with it is to sue them, right? You have to sue them. That's all. Ahmed, DV 2022 winner. Is it okay to apply for DV 2023 as a backup? Yeah, absolutely. There's no harm in applying. It doesn't. I applied a couple of years ago. I've had my green card for years, but just to be able to record a video, I applied. I think I used a fake name, but yeah, anybody can apply. There's no harm in it, and it doesn't affect either way. It won't impact your DV 2022, and if you're selected again, it doesn't matter. Right? It's fine. Albert, your DV 2022 AF 6000. Have the documents ready. Is it prudent to send them now? Yeah, I think you may have asked me this on my blog. I thought I answered a question like this today. You can decide for yourself. You can do whatever you want to do, right? There is a risk in sending your documents before they've asked for them, in that they seem to lose the documents more often than not. And they did that before. But on the other hand, I know for a fact that there are some people who've sent documents without being asked, and they have been processed. I also know people that have been asked for documents, they've sent them in, and KCC have still lost the bloody documents or taken too long to process them. So, it's up to you. You can wait to be asked if you want, or just send them in. It really is up to you. And now they've made police certificates valid for 2 years. My earlier concern about getting documents really early is vanished. You may as well just submit documents now, because there's nothing in the document package that's going to be expired by the time you get to interview. So yeah, and particularly with your case, Albert, you've got a low case number, so just go ahead and submit your documents. Actually, on balance, just do that. Omar, yeah, well, I already answered that, Omar. Jamil, KCC starts to send email for supported documents to DV 2022. I don't think they have, actually. In one of the lawsuits the other day, they admitted that there was some discovery. They admitted there were 30,000 emails behind. Their inbox has 30,000 emails. They're working through that, and they've got a small team of people working on them. They also admitted they've only got 5 people on average processing documents. Just nuts. Just they're not working hard enough. They're not organizing well enough. It's just a mess. But anyway, the upshot of that is no. I don't believe they've sent any emails out yet asking for documents for DV 2022. There may be some, but I haven't heard of any. KCC hasn't sent August interviews for many embassies that already work, unlike previous months. I don't think that's true. There are a lot of, in fact, the last month has seen more 2NL sent out than any of the previous months. So I understand that you probably haven't had your 2NL, or maybe you haven't, amongst your friends, maybe they haven't had their 2NL. But I don't think it's true that a lot of embassies have not had their 2NLs yet. But anyway, there should be a few more being sent this week. Okay. I've talked about 2020, not going to do that again. DV 2022, selectee asylum pending interview. Should I give up since I have no status for AOS? No. Go and ask someone's mum for the current position. I'm going to get you a link now. 2022. So it used to be that adjustment of status from asylum status worked. And then just in the last year or so, I've seen a couple of cases where that failed. And it was kind of oddball, but I lost track of that. I don't know what happened about that. And so go to the link I'm just putting into the chat now and look on that forum. And if necessary, once you've read your way around that forum, go and ask a user called someone's mum to answer that question for you, and she'll give you an accurate answer. All right? Are Sierra Leone going to play the DV 2021? Yeah. I think so. They're not excluded, I don't think. So yeah, you make it sound like a soccer match, but yeah, why not? Abu Nala, Abdun Bala. Oh. Hi Simon, 2022 AF 37,000 H1B visa hold. Yeah, do AOS for sure. I did AOS from H1. And yes, absolutely, you should plan to do that. Your AF 37,000, so you're not going to be able to submit your adjustment of status application for some months, but the link I just put in the chat will take you to a place which has all the information you could want about adjustment of status. Go there and go to the very first post in that in that link, in that thread, and there's a document in there which describes fully how you do adjustment of status. So you've got plenty of time to learn about the process and do that. But yeah, for sure, you're much better off on adjustment of status since you're already here. You've got some more rights, and even if there's COVID crisis outside the country or something, you won't be affected because the USA is looking, much better with COVID right now, apart from the worrying sign of the Delta variant. Ahmed, would you suggest me hiring a lawyer for DV 2021 since they didn't know about the last lawsuits? It's too late. Too late to think about hiring lawyers. I had another question like this today on my blog. It's just too late. And a lawyer has got to get up to speed. It's just, it's up to you. You can do what you want. Obviously, it's your money, your time. But no, I don't think it makes any sense to go and hire a different lawyer. If you want to speak to one of the lawyers for an individual mandamus case, one of the lawyers that actually is involved in the lawsuits, either Curtis Morrison and team or Chuck Cook and team, one of those two groups. If you want to speak to them about an individual mandamus case, maybe they could do that for you. But it doesn't make sense to engage some other person. They don't know what they're doing. Rido, is there any hope for DV 2022? I think it'll be impacted. Whether it'll be just like DV 2021 and 2022, yet to be seen. We don't know. Depends partly how the COVID crisis continues or is stopped in other countries around the world. So, the sooner people get vaccinated, the better. But if there's still a health crisis going on, then it will be affected. Hamza, do you think that the judge can increase the number of visas more than 9,095? Don't know. Since the issue of corona is not the only reason President Biden spoke about the damage that happened to the issues why are well known, and his math calculation I don't particularly agree with, but I take his point that COVID was at least partly to blame for what happened in that year, and he didn't want to give relief for that. Will he be swayed by the arguments to now give further relief? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, Hamza, what he does. Gus Markovic. What do you think of the slowness of the embassies with the embassies, especially Bogota, Colombia? South America, 22, 36, 360 will have an opportunity. Sorry for your English. Your English is great. No pasa nada por el español, inglés. What do I think of the slowness of? So they're not. The embassies are not slow necessarily. I mean, it's not that they're slow. They're being told to prioritize. Let's say they could do 1,000 interviews in a month, right, for all types of visas, or 2,000 or whatever the number. Most of those interview slots have to go to other types of visas. So they're only giving a small portion to DV lottery. It's what they've been told to do. I think the lawsuits currently going on might have an impact on that. Might change the status of that, might change the way things are working. And we really need for that to happen. So every one of these lawsuits is important because of what it might do for cases down the road, right? Not just for the cases that it's talking about. So we'll have to wait and see, but I can't predict what will happen in DV 2022. Egypt 22K without documents reviewed. Yeah. You don't mention if you're DV 2021, but if you are, yeah, that's not in a good place to be. Prem, my post of interview in Sydney got brief scheduling on June. What are your chances for interview? Low, frankly. I think I've explained why over and over in this live stream. So. Jose, I know you can travel, activate your green card, go back to the country same day. Yes, about 6 months right to go back in case I have something medical. Could it be 6 months or a bit more? There's actually, I described this in a FAQ on my blog. The actual deadline is 12 months, right? So you know, up to 6 months, you're entering and you're not really asking for readmission. You're just coming back, right? From 6 months to 12 months, you are asking for readmission. It's in theory slightly more complicated, slightly more risky. Some of the lawyers tell you not to stay out of the country for more than 6 months. But in reality, I can tell you, in 8 years of doing this, I've been telling people to consider the timeline 12 months. And I've not had a single person that's come back and said they were rejected from entry because they were out of the country for 11.5 months or something. Not a single person. So, you know, technically it is different, but I would say, yes, you could stay out longer if you wanted to. The other thing you can do is you can enter, stay a bit longer and apply for a re-entry permit, an I-131, and that can give you permission to stay out of the country for up to 2 years. So, you know, if you need to, you might want to consider that, but you have to stay in the country longer in the beginning. Takes about 6 weeks. Okay. Beta, is there any chance for who is not in any lawsuit? Your case number is reside in Canada. Yeah, Canada, Montreal. So no, you've got no chance, basically, Beta. I'm sorry. Montreal's not taking any cases. If they were taking cases, it would be people who were ready for scheduling very early on. No. Hi, Britt. Didn't we do this one already? I'm done? No. Sent my documents beginning of the year, sent inquiry to KCC. They replied, oh, yeah, we did. We talked about this earlier. Grizzly Mob. They have scheduled 13K cases. 13K cases for a DV. No. Well, huge shift from 15 to 13K. Firstly, no, they haven't scheduled 13K cases at all. I don't know where you're getting that information. You're completely wrong. I'll tell you. They have so far, all of the cases that have been sent to the embassies in all of the world, 5,032 cases. Of that, 1,976 cases have been sent in Africa region. That in Africa region, that's about 3,200 people. So I don't know where you're getting 13,000 from. No, doesn't work like that. So there you go. May I know about the DV 2021 AS region, 10K below Kuala Lumpur? Again, nothing to do. So Tan, I think we've already talked about this. You need to give me when you were ready for scheduling, not your case number. You processed to get Tesfaye. I think I remember you. And Bekele, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Bekele, that's nice of you. Tesfaye, 2 years ago. Yeah, well, I'm trying to think which year, but I'm glad I helped. Honestly, it's what I do this for. I want to help people. Jose, how could be a problem for the Gov if I have a medical issue? Medical is not 100% paid always by me in the USA. I have enough dollars to pay my possible medical in the USA. Right, so I don't know why you're asking that, really. You need to have insurance. If you're in the USA, you need to get a good health plan. The reality is that if you're run over in the street and you're unconscious, you can't produce your medical. And so when, you know, in most states in this country, the hospitals will accept you and they will treat you to save your life. What they won't do, though, is they won't do the additional care that is necessary, for example, rehabilitation, that sort of thing. They won't do that unless they know they're going to be paid. So there is a principle of giving emergency assistance to someone who needs it without cost if necessary. In other words, they would rather be paid. They would rather have your insurance details. But if you can't produce your insurance details, the law says that they have to treat you. At least they have to try and save your life. But they don't have to do much more than that. And so you need to get insurance, right? Akaki, how are you doing? Go Plaintiff, yep. Do you think if Go wins, plaintiffs will be able to get their visas? I mean, I think the Go case is in good shape. It was the first case submitted. It's got an excellent team of lawyers. They should be first up on July 19th to make their arguments, etc. They've got a good case. Now, I can't say that all the Go plaintiffs will be processed, but I certainly hope so. Malia, so yeah, Cuban couple Mexican resident. I think you mentioned this in Guadalajara or something. Yeah, probably. Okay, so their interview is in Mexico. Okay, so yeah, it's weird thing. It probably is the same case that the other guy was talking about. I don't think it's very common, even for Mexico. But Mexico don't get very many DV lottery cases, so they clearly don't know what they're doing. And so they probably issued the visa and then realized that they should have checked into something. And then they started asking for a DS 5535. I mean, they're just making a mess. Hopefully at some point it'll get sorted out, right? Nader, it's been a year since I started following videos. You're in the good luck lawsuit. Good. Got my ready email first week of January. Yeah, you've still got a chance, but good luck lawsuit is big day coming up. So fingers crossed for that. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get into this one because this is to explain that you need to understand the mindset of Judge Mehta at the time, and it's quite complex. So it's not about whether he feels sympathy for the year or not, or whether DV 2020 is worse than 2021 or vice versa. It's not about that. It's a matter of law. And so, he's going to stand back and make a lawful thought process and a lawful decision. It's not to do with his sympathies or whether he's sad for people or whether you send a billion messages on Twitter. It's nothing to do with any of that. Just went through that one. Ahmed, I went to 3 different schools in my high school. Should I mention all of them? Yep, all of them. The DS260 asks you to document all of your education that you have completed. So do what it says. I'm DV 2021. Your case is ready for interview from December 2020, current embassy. Any chance to join? And I already joined Go case. Right. So Ahmed, if you really did get your ready for scheduling in, not just, a lot of people get confused about the emails that they get. They get a confirmation when they send in documents. There's a confirmation email that you can get. And a lot of people think, oh, that's it. That's my ready for scheduling, or that's my documentarily qualified, and it isn't. But if you got the correct documentarily qualified email that says your case is, congratulations, you're now ready for scheduling and will be scheduled when your case number is current, blah, blah, blah. And if that happened in December, then you have a chance of getting, one of the few interview slots that are remaining. So, wait and see. And you joined Go. Yeah. Any chance to join? And I already joined Go case. I don't know what that means. You already joined the Go case, or you want to join it? I don't know. But anyway, you've got a chance. Question here from Peter. When qualifying with education, do I have to collect all documents starting from when I was in primary school up to high school, or do the transcript? Okay. Have all of your documentation at the interview, have all of your documentation from your education starting from age 12 and up, right? Whether you've got a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a PhD, whatever, take those. Sometimes a consular officer will be happy when he sees you've got a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or whatever. But sometimes they will ask for proof that you went through a formal course of secondary education, which is what the rules actually say. So take that anyway. Your good luck, Francisco. Glad to hear it. Okay, so I thought you would Go for some reason. I'm not sure why. But yeah, good luck should bring you good luck. And at least you're now DQ, so that's good. Very good. Do you have any information on what's going on with the Accra embassy? Accra didn't take any interviews at all for a long time. Bear in mind, Accra refused about 1 in 8 cases. They're horrendous, and didn't schedule interviews for a long time. But what's going on in Accra is the same thing that's going on in every other embassy. They're just releasing a very small number of interview appointments available each month, and KCC are just scheduling a very few cases. Of course, Accra should have about 1,000 to 1,500 interviews at least in a normal year. So far, they've got 40 so far this year. 40. So clearly, there's 1,000 people, 1,000 interviews, 12, 13, 1,400 interviews that are not happening. So it's going to be a mess. It's just the same mess that's going on everywhere in the world. And Accra is not doing anything better than any other embassy, but there are some embassies worse than Accra, would you believe? So there you go. Ahmed, already answered that. Do you think, David? I think I've already answered that. OC 2000 still haven't received 2NL yet. Your number's not important. When did you submit your documents, and when did you get ready for scheduling? That's the point. Are DV 2020 interviews likely to start in October? This is an interesting thing. If they start in October, when would a DS 260, OC 260 expect an interview? Oh, okay. So this is going to be interesting. If any cases have a chance of an October interview, it might be yours, right? The normal thing is October, November, December tend to be a slow start. So there's not that many interviews in a normal year. So you might get an interview in October, but I don't know. If it's not October, the green cards they give out in November or December are just as good. So don't worry. Just go to USA. Just go USA. Thanks, Brooke, for your support. You're welcome. TQ December. Yeah, we just talked about that one. Yeah, I talked about that already. KCC, they skipped my number twice. My case number is about 3K. Now they're at 16K. They didn't skip your number. Your numbers are not important anymore. It's not a question of skipping your number. The question is, are you ready for scheduling? Right? If you're not ready for scheduling, then every other case that is ready for scheduling or got ready for scheduling before you is in front of you now. It's not supposed to work this way, but that's the way it's working right now. Okay, so it's not that they skipped your number. Try and understand that. I asked to unlock my DS260 50 days ago, still no response. Right, so Ahmed, I think you've asked that question on the blog, or someone else asked a similar question. They've got a huge backlog of emails. They probably haven't even read your email, right? And everybody is, you can imagine there's 132,000 people selected in DV 2021, and many of them are emailing KCC and saying, what the heck is going on, right? And so your email is the same as all those other emails. You're just in a big email inbox and nobody's getting to it. So you have to wait, right? The reality is you have to wait. And, if you haven't got a low case number, the waiting isn't going to harm you, so don't worry about it. But Morgan KCC in his declaration said order is statutory. People need to stop reading the books or reading the declarations and believing these things. I don't know what to say really. There's a reality and there's make believe, right? I live in a world of reality. I'm sorry about that, but that's the way it is. Okay, talked about that one. No new interviews for Algeria. 3rd of June they had. Right, so yeah, I'd have thought they'd have had some by now, but there may be something going on in Algeria embassy. I don't know. No, already answered that. Ton. No, you asked another question, but it's a new question. You heard KCC doing only lawsuit cases. Is it real? Is like that fair or not? Firstly, no, that's not real. People make up so much bullshit. I don't know why or where they get it from or whatever. But that's an example of bullshit, frankly. So no, it's not real. Is it time to fill DS260 for 2022? Yeah, fill it in. Why are the August 2NLs delayed? Do you think there is bad intention? they've sent a lot of August 2NLs, the most they've sent compared to other months, right? Still not good enough, maybe 1,300 so far, but everything's delayed. The whole thing's delayed. I mean, come on, wake up, pay attention. It's not bad intention any more than the other bad intention. It's just the whole thing's a bloody mess at the moment, and it's been explained over and over again. You're waiting, Julius. Britta, I'm waiting, Julius. What a strange name, waiting, Julius. 2021, 36,000. Don't say which regions. That's useless. I submitted in March. Also submitted my identification academic. You submitted your identification and academic qualifications. Nobody asked you for your academic qualifications. What's your faith? I don't know. Buddhist, Muslim, Christian? I don't know. How do I know what your faith is? I think you probably mean what's your chances? Maybe you're translating from another language or something. I don't think you mean what is your faith. You submitted. I don't know what you see. You're not being clear, so it's difficult to answer your question. You submitted something in March, but I don't know what. Did you mean you submitted your DS-260? And then with the confusion about your academic qualifications, I think it's unlikely you submitted your documents correctly. So you probably have little to no chance, frankly. Did you at least join the lawsuit? I hope so. Hamdan, you're in the lawsuit. Good. Just got to the USA. Glad. Thanks for your support. Fantastic. At least some people this year will get through. And some people from DV 2020 are still getting in. Lunas. So you have to talk about this with DV 2021. The opportunity will expire September 30th, 2021, because DV 2020 in your mind is over, or we don't have the right to speak or complain about all this torment. Of course, you've got the right to speak about it. It's just that you have to be patient. Well, what is that? Are you being aggressive with me, Lunas? Because you don't have it in you, believe me. I don't know what you're saying. So I suppose you're one of the camp of people. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying, "Oh, you've forgotten about DV 2020 and all these things. Why have you forgotten about it? You never talk about DV 2020." It's just because you've got to bloody well wait, right? It's just, that's the only answer I can give. I don't know how many times I can say it. And that's what the lawyers have said as well. What's the point of endlessly saying, "Oh, you've forgotten us. Come on. You're an adult. I mean, a young adult, but you're an adult. Grow up, And don't be aggressive with me. There's no need for that. Mohammed, I'm a DV 2022 selectee, case number AF in the late 30,000s. Late 30,000s. I have a specific question regarding education. I've done 8 GCSEs over 20 years ago, only passed 6 of them. In addition to that, I only did 11 years of schooling. So it's difficult for me to say, Mohammed, precisely give you an answer, because I don't know your country and I don't know the education system in your country, right? And did you only do GCSEs? So I come from the UK, and over there, GCSEs are something we do at 16 years old, right? And then we have A levels, and then we go to university. The standard of education they expect in the DV lottery is for someone who has got to the end of A levels in my country. It may be different in your country, but it's difficult for me to say. And even if you said you're from whatever country, I wouldn't necessarily know the education system in your country. So you can enter and submit your DS-260, particularly if your job is a professional job where you may be able to qualify that way. But if you're unsure still, perhaps you should email me on my blog, post a message on my blog at britsimonsayers.com, and let me know the country, and perhaps I might know a little bit more about your country and the standards there. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, so it is the Cubans residing in Mexico. Yeah, thanks for that, Eli. Yeah, that's what Malia was talking about as well. Yeah, and I don't think they're done. I think this is just, as I said to Malia earlier, I think it's just a case of the embassy just not knowing what the hell they're doing with these cases because they don't see DV lottery cases. So I don't think they're done. Just, tell them to be calm, be patient, follow the instructions, even if the instructions are idiotic. Just follow the instructions and hopefully it'll get sorted out. They've still got plenty of time. Thanks for the donation. By the way, I'll go and enjoy that tomorrow. I'll have a beer on you. Sophie Vid, do you think the embassies that really recently started sending 2NLs are doing that because they're feeling the pressure of lawsuits? Maybe. I think the lawsuits are a good thing. We have seen some activity, some things have changed this year, even from the presidential perspective, because of the lawsuits, I believe. But it's difficult to say exactly what causes action, right? But, we'll see. Very good. Talked about that one already. Happy birthday for tomorrow. Thank you. Answer in the comments below, how old do you think I'll be tomorrow? And for anyone that says 75 or something, you can piss off and don't come back on my on my channel. But yeah, feel free to guess how old you think I am. Casey responded using the same email for everyone. Oh, because they have these standard emails they just dish out. There is a weird thing happening at the moment where they're sending emails out to people asking for documents, and they're sending the email out with the subject that says further documents required. Now that is a legitimate subject line in some cases. It's where they've looked at your documents and they've decided you haven't given them enough documents. Perhaps you need another police certificate or something like that. But there seems to be one of the operators, at least at KCC, is just sending out this this email with the further documents required, and it seems like it's a mistake. Honestly, it's just not very well organized there, I'm afraid. It's just not working very well. Happy birthdays from lots of people. That's nice. Thank you. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Thank you, right. Eli, Cubans receiving appointments. Do you think we're waiting for the August? Do you think 2NL? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I can't really predict that, right? Yeah, Ray, we already talked about that. No appointment for Guyana. Oh, that's a continuation. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen for Cuba and for Guyana. Rita, hello, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Actually, Rita, PM me, would you? Let me know what's happening in your case. It's mid-July, it's about time you had something sorted out, right? So let me know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with your case right now. When's the final verdict? Well, there's an important hearing on the 19th, right? So that will be the next day to watch. We're unlikely to get a verdict on that day, right? We're unlikely to get any sort of judgment on that day. So just we'll have to continue to be patient. Thank you, Rita. You could sing. I'm sure you would sing "Happy Birthday" beautifully, much better than I would. What about 2021? I talked about 2021. Yeah, I talked about that one. So I'm just going to have a look at other. It's coming home. Yep, it's coming home tomorrow. We'll see. I'm not a big soccer fan, funnily enough. I'm more of a rugby fan, but yeah, I'll be watching tomorrow. Thank you, Stephanie. Clemens and Gomez, but missed interview appointment in September due to 14 days quarantine rules. Frustrating. So you didn't get your... Yeah, so you weren't able to get to your interview, but the good thing is that the embassy had all your details at that time. I'm hopeful that will give you and people like you an advantage. And so if we get a positive ruling from Judge Mehta, you would immediately contact your embassy with some proof of the ruling and ask them to start scheduling your interview, rescheduling your interview. And of course, you'll have to redo your medical. So, wait and see, but really pay very close attention over the next few weeks because I think we're going to get something pretty soon from Judge Mehta, I suspect. And we do, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The only chance is the lawsuit now. Had you into, oh wow, you had to pull out of the green card process. Will pulling out ruin any future visits? Blacklist you? No. It would make a non-immigrant visa a little bit harder to get, but it doesn't blacklist you or anything like that. So, you know, not a problem. Alpha Omega, I can't say for sure you don't have a chance, but judging by your high case number, it's unlikely that they ever got to processing of your documents, even if you sent them in. So unless you had ready for scheduling very, very early on, you probably don't have a chance now. Yeah, nightmare. Mary, you're a Go plaintiff. Don't get new police certificates because police certificates are now valid for 2 years. So you think they'll expire in August? They won't. They're actually going to last longer than that. You sent a new document 6 months ago and they've still not been processed. I suspect you've got a high case number and they probably never got to your documents yet. Sudhir, I've already talked about that. I've updated about the Gomez lawsuit. Diana says thanks. Some people don't like what I say, other people do. So thank you for saying thank you on that, Diana. Go plaintiff, DQ told. Oh, okay. You told, yeah, I mean, telling them that you're a Go plaintiff, it doesn't mean that they're going to drop everything and just get on your case straight away, but it might help, you know, there's no harm in it. There's no difference. The only thing with entry, like if you've both been given an immigrant visa, the principal selectee has to enter either with the derivative or before the derivative, right? You can't have the derivative entering before the principal selectee. That can't happen. So, yeah. Okay, a couple more questions and then I'll have to stop. All right, so DB 2021, case Gore interview, Saudi Arabia. Oh man, I'm struggling to read this. What's your expectation about Riyadh Embassy? It works very slowly. Yeah, I mean, I think I've covered that, Kareem. It's all about you're ready for scheduling date, not your case number. You know, you have to wait and see what happens, but it really is about when you got your ready for scheduling email. So, you know, that's what I would need to know. Well, so that one earlier, Ahmed. So Benjamin, you're asking, do you think you're going to be interviewed this year based on your case number, SA 2300 range? It's not a bad case number. Some people, you know, are getting interviews with that. The reality is, I just don't know what's going to happen with the process next year. So, you know, we just don't know. It's too early to tell. Second, what do you think I should expect 2NL for you? Well, it's the same question, isn't it? You're just answering the same question in 2 different ways. So the same answer for both questions. I've been giving a lot of updates, have you? ¿Qué pasa? No está enviado. Citas para TV21. Yeah, because it's a mess. It's a mess, Marlies. Yeah. CRO did not have their 2NLs yet. Okay. Is that right? They didn't have them yet for August? Okay, well, they'll probably come out in the next few days. I still believe there should be some 2NLs for Cairo over the next few days. Zabna says, how do you check if KCC has received the documents? Well, in normal times, you would either phone them, but right now they're mostly not answering the phone, or you would email them. But of course, right now they've got a backlog of 30,000 emails in their email inbox. So there's no other way. Only KCC can tell you, and it's just a mess. What can I say? iPhone store GH Ghana. iPhone store in Ghana, huh? I'm DV2022. Can I send my scanned copy documents to KCC? You can do. Case number 45,000. It's going to be a long time before you're interviewed anyway, so don't feel you have to rush. Do I need to send documents? Okay, so your number is lower, AS7000, although it's still fairly high. I mean, you won't be current until probably February or March of next year at the earliest. But you can choose. You can send your documents, or you can wait to be asked. Either way, I explained that earlier on in the video. Okay, Wasim, I have a video which explains case numbers, but AF 15,000 or EU 14999, whatever. Basically, every region has its own numbering scheme. They start from number 1. So there's an AF number 1, there's an EU number 1, there's an Asia region number 1, and they go down from there. They're separate ranges. So the case numbers are not consecutive. There are not cases in every single number. I have a video. Google or search for a video by me saying what's that one called? There's several videos. If you look in my FAQ section of videos, I do a pretty good explanation of how the whole process works and the draw process. So have a look for a video that talks about the draw process, and that will give you a bit more information. Okay, let me just see if there's I hate seeing these ones. Hello, Joshua. Hello, please. When I was doing the lottery, my baby was 1 week old, so I couldn't add him on my application. Can I add and fill for the DS260? So what you're saying is your baby was already born when you entered the lottery and you didn't include him on the lottery. Why? Why not? The instructions are very clear. You were supposed to include it. What was difficult about adding it? Was it taking the photo? Because you can take a photo of a 1 week old baby. They don't move very fast. It's very easy to take a photo of them. You just put them on a white sheet on the floor and you stand above them and take a photo. Why didn't you add them? Anyway, what it means is you're going to be disqualified. So if I've understood your question correctly, you will be disqualified, 100% certain. There's no fix for it. Very frustrating reading these. And, I get very frustrated with it. Oh, dear. Complete waste of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And you've got a young kid that would probably have done better as growing up in America. Try again next year. That's all I can say. Okay, one more question, because I don't want to end on that sad question. We're going to win the lawsuit. There you go, positivity. Okay, I was lost for a while. I wasn't lost. I knew where I was. Any chance backlogs will affect the DV 2022 process? Yeah, for sure. So there's a couple of things that could happen that will affect DV 2022. Even if DV 2021 processing stopped today, if that happened, and that's not going to happen, but even if that happened, we would already be probably not going to be seeing many interviews in October, November, December, because of the COVID situation and because of the way that the government is prioritizing other cases in front of DV lottery. But there are a couple of other possibilities that could happen. There's the Gomez case, which is about DV 2020, and there's a set of cases related to that. And there's about 9,000 visas being held back for issuance later, and we hope those are going to be issued. But that will take some time, right? And it's going to take some capacity at the embassies. And so that could impact DV 2022. And we could very soon be in the same position for DV 2021, where we get a preservation order that means that effectively DV 2021 will continue to be processed into next year. And of course, that will impact DV 2022. And of course, everybody's going to complain about that. From their point of view, it's unfair, whatever. But that's the way it will be, right? So yeah, there could easily be some impacts. And as I said earlier in this live stream, I would be a bloody idiot to try and predict what will happen in DV 2022 is just impossible. I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, so there's probably going to be some impact from the backlogs. Yes. Okay. All right, guys. I think I'll call it a day. I hope that's been helpful for you. I hope I covered enough ground. If you have specific questions that you'd like me to see, a video on, I can do a video on particular subjects by all means. But generally speaking, I like doing these live sessions to just answer as many questions as I can, and hopefully that's helpful if you're, listening to other people's answers. Okay, everybody, have a great weekend. I'm going to enjoy my weekend, and I'll be watching the soccer tomorrow. It's coming home. So I think it's about 50 years since we've had such a good opportunity, but it won't be an easy game. So we'll see. All right, everybody. Bye-bye now.